Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are discussing the last section of the Westland, What the Thunder Said. This is the fifth video in our series covering each part of Eliot's poem, The Westland. If you haven't seen the previous videos, make sure to check them out by clicking the link in the description below. In Upanishads, we are told how once, when the land was threatened with famine and drought, the divine Prajapati spoke in thunder to his devotees, gods, demons, and men, and pointed out to them the way of salvation. The title is quite appropriate for in this section. Eliot shows his readers the way of spiritual rebirth, and his teaching is based on the ancient wisdom of India. This section begins with an account of the arrest of Christ at the hands of his enemies. They came in search of him with torches in their hands, their faces dirty with sweat and red with anger. He was arrested in a garden, and there was a frosty death-like silence after his arrest. He suffered great agony in palace and prison made of stone. Then it was rumored that Christ was to be released. This led to noisy demonstrations in front of the prison and the palace of Governor Pilate. Then Christ was crucified, but at the very moment of his crucifixion, there was thunder over the distant mountains, indicating that there should be rain. Rain is a symbol of regeneration. Eliot adds that Christ did not die when he was crucified. He lived on in the hearts of the devout. But now he is dead because we, the modern Westlanders, have forgotten him and his teachings. We who were living when Christ was crucified are now dead. We are now dead spiritually, and we make no efforts for our spiritual salvation or regeneration. The second section describes the journey of Sir Percival and other questers in search of the Holy Grail. They travel to the kingdom of the Fisher King and climb a mountain where the Holy Grail is believed to be kept in a chapel perilous. Their journey is extremely difficult due to the lack of water, leaving them thirsty and surrounded by a barren, desolate landscape. The area has not seen rain for a long time, and they are met with bleak scene of rocks and dryness. The rocks are compared to the mouth of an old man. Strange, unpleasant sounds like the wind in dry grass, noisy insects, and thunder without rain break the silence. As they get closer to the chapel, they see scary visions, like dread ghostly figures in broken houses, making noises and mocking at them. The imagery reflects the challenges faced by those on a spiritual quest. The path to spiritual truth and salvation is often filled with hardships and distractions, symbolized by these hallucinations. The repeated cry for water vividly emphasizes their intense suffering and their deep longing, not just for physical relief, but also for spiritual fulfillment. Another similar hallucination is described in the Bible during the journey of Christ's disciple to Emmaus, an evil land. One of the disciples notices a hooded figure wrapped in a brown mantle walking beside his companion. He cannot determine whether the figure is a man or a woman, which adds to the mystery and confusion. T.S. Eliot, in his notes, explains that such a hallucination was reportedly experienced by explorers during an Atlantic expedition. It is only in the final stages of the disciples' journey that their doubts are resolved and Christ appears to them in person, affirming their faith. Eliot has described two purposeful journeys, both crowned with success. The questers found the Holy Grail, and the disciples reached Emmaus, where their doubts were removed, and their faith in the resurrection of Christ was restored. In contrast, the journey of modern humanity is aimless, marked by wandering without purpose or direction. Eliot vividly portrays modern humanity on the brink of chaos. The hooded hordes symbolize this aimlessness, while the murmur of maternal lamentation may represent Europe's mourning for its lost values and spiritual decay. In Eastern Europe, humanity is uprooted, marching across barren plains and cracked earth, with falling towers symbolizing the collapse of values. Civilization appears to be ending, and Eastern Europe seems mad, depicted as a woman playing music on her black hair. The church has lost its meaning. People attend out of formality, but real faith is gone. Empty cinsters and dry wells symbolize their spiritual death. The modern wasteland is godless and spiritually dead, with little hope for renewal. Hopelessness contrasts sharply with the hopeful journey of the knight, who reaches the chapel on the mountain only to find it in ruins. The doors and windows are gone, the wind sings through it, and graves lie exposed with bones visible. Yet his journey is not in vain. At the top, a rooster crows, signaling the end of the night and arrival of morning. A flash of lightning and damp wind bring the promise of rain, fertility, and the healing of the maimed fisher king. The following passage reflects a severe drought in India, where even the holy river Ganga's water level was low, and all life waited desperately for rain. Birds sat thirsty, and men and animals gathered silently, praying for relief. God responded with a thundering da, 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 symbolizing three paths to salvation. The first da is datta, meaning to give. It emphasizes dedicating oneself to a noble cause. True dedication often arises in moments of intense emotion when one makes irreversible decisions driven by passion. Such acts of selflessness have always driven humanity forward. However, modern society neglects those who sacrifice for noble causes. Yet, it is this selfless dedication that can lead to spiritual rebirth. The second da is dayadavam, meaning to sympathize. Modern humanity is trapped in self centeredness, living in spiritual isolation. God calls upon humanity to escape the prison of self and empathize with sorrow and suffering of others. This rare act of stepping out of one's self centered world brings spiritual growth, but it happens infrequently, often at moments of quiet introspection. The third da stands for Damyata, meaning self control. It teaches that controlling one's passions and desires makes life smooth and joyful, like a well piloted boat sailing calmly on a peaceful sea. Self control is essential for a happy and successful life. The poet, sitting by a dry river, reflects on a spiritual regeneration. He sees London's crumbling bridge as a symbol of decaying values in big cities. Eliot highlights that suffering leads to renewal. He urges reader to embrace noble causes, sympathize with others, and practice self-control. Only through these actions and accepting that suffering brings salvation can one achieve spiritual peace. Then life will be filled with shanti, 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 a perfect tranquility.